Hey guys, Shane here. Something cool and new for the channel. We're going to be taking a look at RP Models 100mm bust of Mad Jack Churchill. This is from their World War II character series. This kit was really kindly sent out to me by Adam, Bro for Life. So he saw this in his local model shop that was closing and said, "Oh, Shane might like this," or more so, he thought it'd be funny to watch me lose my shit trying to make this. But so big thanks to you, my friend, for sending this out, and hopefully I can do it justice. So this is the first big scale bust I've ever attempted on the channel, and the quality of this figure is top notch. Carlos Mendez has already done a review of another bust from this series of Lord Lovett. Now, Mad Jack Churchill is also quite an interesting character. As you can see, he's got himself a longbow. He's the only soldier in World War II to ever have a confirmed kill by using a longbow, and apparently, according to what you read, he also is the only soldier to ever kill another soldier with a claymore, though I think some people say it might be a Highland basket hilt sword as well as one or the other. So let's have a look and see what we get inside the box. So cracking the lid of this box, it's a good sturdy box. That's quite important for resin figures, especially if you're shipping internationally. It helps to make sure to get there in one piece. So nice simple box. We do get, first thing we see is this big information pamphlet on the actual man himself. This is nice, it kind of gives a bit of context. And then on the other side we just have the parts. So we have a few bubble wrap bags of resin parts, quite heavy, you know, 100mm bust is quite large, so they have a nice bit of heft in this resin. So I'm just going to start unbagging each component, and we'll take a look at them piece by piece. They are pretty well packaged, they each come in their own little Ziploc bag, which is in turn surrounded by bubble wrap. So I'm just going to start unbagging each component, and we'll take a look at them piece by piece. They are pretty well packaged, they each come in their own little Ziploc bag, which is in turn surrounded by bubble wrap. Here we have the actual longbow itself, which is a pretty major piece of resin. It's going to be interesting to see how this is casted. Again, just trying to cut through this without damaging anything. And then we have our main bag of parts. So here's the contents all laid out with our longbow. Okay, so let's pull in and have a look at the detail. So here we have a rather substantial resin assembly of the longbow that Jack's using, and having actually fired longbows myself, this is pretty damn close. Even the notches, which would be like a deer antler for nuking the arrow. Jeez, that's nice. Okay, on the box, and this is one thing I kind of noticed, it said these parts are clean, which I would have thought that they were already pre-cleaned up. This is not so much the case. You will have to do some basic cleanup and removing from casting blocks. However, there is no bubble marks, which is very nice. The detail in his hand, which I'm not zooming this into his hand, is absolutely exquisite. It's beautiful. Even the lanyard, or like the handle for his longbow, which would be string, is very nicely done as well. It's very fine. So this is one of the major assemblies out of the way. Now, I do have some issues with the packaging of this kit, especially like this major bag of parts where the torso is. It just threw everything in, and as a result, some of the parts are in fact damaged. And for like the price tag that these things go for, that's kind of not good. So here's his torso, the main block. So here's my hand for scale, and this is substantial, quite a bit of weight. But as you can see, the detail, once again, is absolutely beautiful, right down to the actual texture of the textiles of his canvas combat-like shirt or tunic. All the buttons and buckles are very nicely reproduced. We have some of his ammunition pouches from his webbing, the lanyard for his weaponry pistol. Also, a nice little note is, I wonder how well guys can see it, but you can also see his rank marks. So he's 3 pips, so I believe that would make him a captain. 1 pip's a second lieutenant, 2 pips first, and 3 pips is a captain, if I remember correctly. Or it's the other way around, that 1 pip's a second and 2 pips is the first lieutenant. I can never remember which comes first for lieutenants. All I know is you salute them. So again, very nicely detailed here, and for such a large piece of resin, there's no imperfections. Okay, there's a little bit of seams you'll have to clean up, but again, literally one small pass of a very fine sanding stick will do that. Also, the sockets in these arms are keyed, same for the head. This will definitely help make sure everything aligns correctly. There is a lot of burring here that will need to be cleaned, so maybe a Dremel will do that, again on a very low speed. And a little clean up here from the casting plug. Oh wow, that is really, really nice. Moving on to his head, which is probably the most important part. The detail here is stunning. It's beautiful. Yeah, he's got a little petro tash. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is very, very fine. However, because everything was thrown into the one big bag, there's obviously a casting plug here, and it's actually after snapping and taking some of the hair detail with it. Again, on the unlikely chance that RP are watching this, don't slam everything into one bag. It's just a bad idea. It's a recipe for disaster. Now, luckily, his helmet will hide that, and a bit of green stuff will hide that too. If you feel the need. A little bit of a seam here, but nothing that a quick pass of a hobby blade or a sanding stick can't fix. And again, a bit of a cast plug here behind his ears. But again, this is pretty clean stuff. And the detail in his face is absolutely stunning. Then we move on to his helmet, which is the early pattern British Army helmet, I believe. So this is modelled as he was with the BEF, so it's 1940 France. He did later go into the Commandos, but this is a step before that. Again, really nicely detailed. There is a bit of a cast texture, which is good. You could add your own if you really felt the need. And once again, like everything else, it's keyed to make sure it fits the way it's meant to. We move on to his arms. Now his arms are very nicely done, including the fact that they have the Manchester Regiment sewn onto his sleeve, which is really cool, a nice addition, very authentic, and in good relief. So you can paint that accurately. We do have a bit of damage once again. Again, the piece itself isn't damaged, but it just seems that they snapped the casting plugs off. Now luckily it hasn't damaged the part itself, but if a few more milling would have done it. A little bit clean up is necessary, but nothing too crazy. And once again, the shoulder is keyed, and it should allow for a good fit into the arm. Now, it won't fit fully because of that piece of burring inside there, but once that's clean, we should get a really good solid fit. And the way it's tooled, you can paint the arm separately and then slot them in without having to damage or worry about damaging the paint, as because this is what they give us a sleeve here for. Very clever. The other arm, which is holding the bow. So you have a handguard here for the bow. So that'll be like a nice leather colour. Pretty much the same ones we still use today in archery. Once again, we have the Manchester shoulder flash, and then the regimental shoulder flash underneath it, which is, it looks like two crossed swords, I think. A little bit hard to make out here, but again, the detail is very, very nice. A little bit of clean up here for the cast plug where it used to be, and a small seam running down, but again, minimum cleanup will be necessary. Then we move on to his hand, which is drawing the bow. Helps if I actually have it in shot. Now, there is quite a bit of flash on this, so some careful cleanup will be necessary, but the detail is very, very nice, down to the fins in his hand. That is absolutely stunning. And another nice detail is the actual finger tab in his inner hand, which is this circular thing here between his index and middle finger, which is designed to protect his fingers from the bowstring. That is really nice. A little bit clean up necessary, but again, should shape up very nicely indeed. Then we move on to some of his web gear. Not much to say here, but it does actually have the texture that we'd expect from a canvas web kit. Very nice. Again, keyed, so when we do fit it to the model, it will lock in and it won't move on us. We have our Webley pistol holster. Again, lovely stitch detail on this. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it is fabulous. Again, keyed, makes life a bit easier for us. these should paint up very nicely. A little bit of cleanup again necessary where the machine has punched out the casting block. And then we have this. Now you might be wondering, what in the hell is this? Well, this is actually a basket hilt sword. Very synonymous with the Highlanders, so this is a Highland broadsword or basket hilt sword. Not the claymore that he's known for carrying. Very, very intricate detail on the hilt itself. There does seem to be a bit of damage and some cleanup will be necessary to hollow out this area here. But that is very, very nice. And the scabbard is a separate piece that I'll show you in a few moments. Again, you have to clean up where the cast plug used to be. It just seems like it's been snipped right off or punched out by a machine perhaps. I kind of wish they wouldn't do that because it just looks like... So we have our arrow quiver. Again, give it a second for it to focus. So a little bit of cleanup is going to be necessary on the arrows. But wow, this is very finely done. So let's be on his back. It's hollow as well, which is nice. Very, very nice. And that keys into his back shoulder, I believe. Very cool. And then we have the arrow that he's drawing. Now, some very careful cutting is going to be necessary for this. This seems very delicate, but for such a thin piece of resin, it is dead straight. That is very impressive. Any of you guys who've ever bought things from Forge World or other wargaming things will know that things like resin barrels and all that can often be warped, and this is bang on straight, and this is very thin. So well done there to RP. That's quite an impressive piece of casting. Then we move on to the last small little bag, which is quite an interesting little piece in itself. So this is the scabbard for his broadsword, which is hollow. So basically, where's the piece? It will just basically slot right in. Now it doesn't fit too well, but you can sand that down and it should fit very nicely in. Very nicely detailed, no warp. Well, it's slightly warped, but it's so gentle you won't even notice. I'm not even going to bother straightening it. A little bit of flash. However, again, it's very finely molded. Detail on both sides, of course. And then the key to fit it onto his web belt. This is very, very nicely done. And should I say, sorry, this is actually the second last bag. We have one last bag here, which is his canteen, and the canteen is finely done. I do apologise about the weather outside, nothing I can do about it though. It is Ireland after all. Very, very nice. This is going to be an absolute joy to paint up. So there you have RP Models Mad Jack Churchill. In all, an absolutely beautiful piece, beautiful detail, like superbly cast. A few little issues with a bit of damage, but I think that's actually down to how they punch off the casting blocks. But nothing that can't really be rectified. The only real downside of this model I could find was it doesn't come with any type of plinth or mounting base. However, a bit of brass rod and an old piece of wood will do the job. And that's really it. Other than that, absolutely stunning. So if any of you are looking for something different, maybe a nice characterful bust, something to try, I would strongly recommend these. Also, a big thank you again to Adam, bro for life, and for sending this out to me. And do stay tuned. In the very near future we will have a painting video of this, and it's going to be absolutely deadly, I hope. Thanks very much, lads. Stay safe as always. Happy modelling. Watch out for those buses. Bye bye.